Let's talk about International Women's Day first. I mean, are you celebrating, let's talk about black women in politics, for instance. Are you celebrating, or is there much, much more to do?
You know, there is stuff to celebrate. When I first became a Member of Parliament, there were just 41 women members of Parliament altogether, and only 21 Labour women MPs out of 650 MPs. Now, we have 220 women MPs out of 650 and 104 Labour women MPs. So there is stuff to celebrate, but there is further to go.
Yeah, and I mean, are black MPs being given the right jobs, the jobs of leadership?
Well, you know, we've got David Lammy, who's the Justice Secretary. We've got Marshall Cordova, who's Equalities. I think that both women and ethnic minority MPs are being offered a much broader range of jobs now than they would have been offered, say, 10, 20 years ago.
And you, of course, were Shadow Home Secretary, but let's just talk about what's dominating the news, and Meghan Markle and the claims that she's made of racism against the royal family. What do you make of that?
Well, the idea that people were worrying about exactly how dark her son would be is really quite distasteful. And it's a great shame. It's a great shame because when she first got engaged to Harry and they had their wonderful wedding, we all thought it was a sort of new dawn for the royal family. It was really embracing multiracialism. But it seems that some members of the royal family weren't embracing multiracialism at all.
Because if the one allegation, and we don't know whether it's true, if the one allegation portrays the royal family as racist, that is incredibly serious, and that is incredibly damaging, because many people, many observers have said that Meghan Markle was welcomed into the royal family and Charles walked her down the aisle, and that there's no evidence of that racism. What would you say about that?
Almost from the beginning. You had that fabulous wedding, but from the beginning, the abuse and the unpleasantness in the tabloid media was almost relentless. I mean, daily there were articles and commentators attacking Meghan for things which other members of the royal family who happened to be white did without any criticism. But if Meghan did them, like eating avocado, for instance, you know, she got attacked for it. So there was a horrible media atmosphere out there for Meghan. And, you know, no one is saying that the entire royal family is racist. That would clearly not be fair. But like I say, speculating about how dark her child would be is utterly distasteful.
Yeah, but that is the one incident. I mean, is it possible that women are not embraced, come from outside and are not embraced by the royal family? We don't have to go very far back in history to see how the press have treated other women coming into the royal family. Is it a women thing rather than a race thing, potentially?
No, I don't think it's just a woman thing, because other women who married into a family, Kate, for instance, just did not get the relentless attacks that Meghan got. But it's true to say that it's tough marrying into the royal family. But it's also sad to say the royal family doesn't seem to have learned anything from what happened to Princess Di.
You came into politics and you fought for your beliefs and you fought racism in politics. Could there be an argument that Meghan Markle would have been better staying inside the family and working herself for change within that family if this is the way that she felt about it, rather than simply leaving and heading off back to the States?
Well, she didn't simply leave. She was driven out by the tabloid media. And if you've seen the clips of the interview with Oprah Winfrey, she's a woman who endured great pain and great unhappiness. They came close to breaking her. And I could understand that she thought that for the sake of her family and for the sake of herself as a mother of a young child, she had to leave and get some peace and some happiness.
I mean, there are all these claims of the undertones of racism in the coverage, the press coverage of Meghan Markle. Other observers say that there's been unfavourable press because of what they see as the self-pity and self-promotion of a couple worrying about themselves when over 100,000 people in this country are dying from COVID.
I think that's a ridiculous allegation. Meghan Markle got criticised for being photographed with her hands in her pockets when the Queen had been photographed with her hands in her pockets. She got criticised for eating avocados when Kate Middleton had been eating avocados. There is a relentless pattern of Kate being attacked for things which other members of the royal family did without comment. Nobody can really look at the tabloid treatment of Meghan Markle and say it was fair. And you can't also not admit that there was an undertone of treating her as other than. She wasn't somehow an English rose. And therefore, things that other women of the royal family could do, she couldn't do without criticism.
How do you think the palace should deal with this?
Well, I think it's like any difficulty in a family. I think that the family just has to get through it. I mean, the last thing you want is a lot of tit for tat. Clearly, Meghan and Harry had a very, very difficult time. Now they want to be together as a young family without the kind of relentless attacks from the British media. And I think they should be allowed to do that.
I mean, it is all very sad. It is a major rift now. But on International Women's Day, which it is, do you have sympathy for a woman who has worked her entire life in the public service of this country and has had great loyalty to this country and to the work that she was born to do? The Queen, do you have sympathy for her being dragged through all this mess?
Well, I have sympathy for the Queen, but if you saw the clips from the interview, both Meghan and Harry were at pains to say how much they respected the Queen and actually how fair she had been to them. This is not about the Queen. It is about, I think, some of the courtiers and advisors in the royal family. It's what they call the firm. But none of this is about the Queen. Harry and Meghan could not be more appreciative of the kindness that the Queen has shown them.
And just on the point of mental health that Meghan raises in the interview, do you think her claims should clearly be looked into, but do you think also the allegations that others have made about her should be fully investigated?
Come on, these allegations came up 2 years later when they knew that the Oprah Winfrey interview was about to air. I think it just feels like a little bit tit for tat.
But it doesn't mean they have no validity.
Yeah, but why weren't they investigated 2 years ago? Why have they waited until 48 hours before the Oprah Winfrey?
But that's almost a separate question. That should be investigated too. But should the claims made of bullying against Meghan Markle be investigated?
I deplore bullying, whoever it is from. But I think there's a degree of scepticism about these belated claims against Meghan Markle. I think the royal family has to learn from this.